Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? Hope everybody's doing good today. The one of you in the chat right now. Oh, man. Hey, Kevin, we'll see if the camera's doing better today. It wasn't the camera issue, it was the capture card that I had purchased. I have since returned it to Amazon yesterday and am now trying a different capture card. We'll see if this one burns out or something. I don't know. It was a bit ridiculous. It was getting ridiculous. I just don't understand it. Um, I'm just a caveman. I don't get it. But what can I do, man? You know, it happens. But thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. 6 of you in here. You know, we've got 8 subscribers. That's pretty good. Stream with my phone. No, I don't want to do that. I mean, I'll do it if I'm like live somewhere. I've done that before. You guys know that. But I'm only going to do that if I absolutely need to. I'm getting a phone call that I need to take right now. I got to go. I'm going to pop and put you guys on mute. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I couldn't ignore that call. Someone had texted earlier trying to get some info. No breaking news. I mean, it was just a conversation. You got to keep in touch with your sources. But nothing really, real huge informative out of that. I mean, I might type some stuff up for our subscribers at auburn.247sports.com later this week. Maybe this weekend or something, but it's nothing big that needs to be shared right now. Like, Auburn's moving forward with this, or this player's leaving, or this player's committing. You know what I mean? So, just gotta keep the lines of communication open, guys. Sometimes people call me back. Sometimes people ignore me. You know, that's how it goes. But always trying to work the phones and the texts and everything. You know, for about every 5 text messages I send, I might get one answer back. You know what I mean? Or maybe even every 7 text messages I send, I get one answer back. Just how it goes sometimes. But that one answer could always be great. Recruiting wise, you guys know that the opening starts this weekend. Our Keith Niebuhr, the opening finals, I should say. They start this weekend. We covered it in the podcast this morning and on Auburn Undercover Live yesterday, if you guys checked it out. So, what's up, E. Williams? What's up, JLB? What's up, Double Ob? What's up, Scurvy Balls Lamont? He says I'm a hillbilly. Where can we call in? Because this hillbilly can be interesting. You can call if you want to call in chat, man. Let's do it. You guys want to call in? You guys want to do that? You guys want to call in on Skype and just chat? We could do that. Look me up on Skype and we'll chat. I'm BrandonMarcello@gmail.com. I'm opening Skype right now. If you guys want to chat, no video. We'll just do audio. If any of you want to call me, we'll do it. Discord is better than chat Skype. I don't know how to. I guess I could do Discord. I've got a Discord channel, as you guys know. I'm on Discord as well as B Marcello. I don't know how that works, so I've never used Discord for video, or excuse me, for audio. So if you guys, if any of you want to chat, call me on Skype. I think there's like 2 of my accounts for some reason. You just have to find the right one. BrendanMarcello@gmail.com. Call me, and I'll put you on the air, guys. Don't be a pansy. If you want to chat, let's do it. Otherwise, you're just going to see my face. You're at work or you'd call in. Brandon, a man of the people. I am a man of the people. I am a person. I want to talk to anybody. Anybody wants to talk, we'll talk. Hey, Double Ob, thanks for the bits. How many bits you give me there, man? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bits. That's better than 2 bits or $1. Stand up and holler. Was that the chant? Wherever the hell that is. The Brendan Marcello show. I wouldn't call it that. I just come on here to chat, man. I got somewhere to be later, and I don't have a lot of time, between now and then to do some work. And frankly, it's freaking June. So I'm texting people, trying to work on some things, and got a call earlier. That's why I had to interrupt the broadcast for a moment. Who is a person? I'm a person. I have feelings too. That's what I've been told. I have very thin skin sometimes. All right, so no calls on Skype from anybody. Wow. So no one's interested. That's too bad, guys. I mean, I just gave you my number, name, or whatever. That's disappointing. It's very disappointing. What do I think of Robert Pattinson as Batman? I mean, we'll see. I don't know. What kind of movie are they making for Batman? Is it going to be like another retread bull crap thing? I don't know. I think he'll be fine. It's just, what's the script like? What's the setting like? What exactly is the point? What happened to that guy that was asking where to call in? I don't know. See, usually what happens with trolls on the internet. They're like, hey man, how'd I get a hold of you? And then they don't call in. Where we call in, said Scurvy Balls Lamont. Great name, by the way. Because this hillbilly can't be interesting. I just gave you an opportunity to call in. What's the deal with the athletic department? Where is all the money gone? Dude, I don't know. Opinion, I guess. I think Jake Jacobs screwed the athletics department in his last few years there. They were spending so much money on consultants. Ari Fleischer was consulting and paid 6 figures. I tried to get freedom of information requests in to see how much money these people were being paid, that all these consultants and everybody he hired, and they wouldn't provide it to me. But I kept hearing things about how much money they were spending behind the scenes on consultants and all this BS. I don't know. I don't think Jay Jacobs was a very good steward of Auburn's finances, so to speak. Doesn't mean Auburn doesn't have cash coming in, but it's just, But you saw yesterday our Philip Marshall, maybe even the day before, was discussing how Auburn was cutting back 10% of the budget, or at least trying to, for like every athletics program, which is quite drastic. And one of the reasons why baseball, I guess, took that bus ride instead of flying to Chapel Hill for the Super Regional just this past month. So it's interesting. Here, is there a way to create a link to my Skype account so you guys can just click it and call me? Is there a way to do that? In fact, if you guys have a phone, you can just call this number I've got. So let's do that. Here, I'm just going to put this in there. I don't care. Call. Don't be a pansy. If you want to talk, let's talk. What's wrong with people, man? Let's do it. Let's just chat. You got questions? Do it live. Do it live. There. Call that number, and I'll put you on the air. Or if you don't want to call a number, you can do that from your phone. You can do it from Skype. Or you can just use this username on Skype. That's me. And call in. We'll see if anybody calls. We spend all the money on paying our fired coaches. No, most of that's actually been kind of cleared up. Gene Chiswick's off the books. Tony Barbee, I think, is off the books. But you got to pay about $3 million to Jay Jacobs for his apparent soft parachute landing in Gainesville. And then, of course, there's the prospect of having to pay Gus Malzahn upwards of $25, $26 million, something like that, if they were to buy him out after this upcoming season. So I guess there's like preparations being made just in case they have to cut ties with people or all that. Plus all the other projects they're wanting to build. As we discussed here yesterday on Auburn Undercover Live and the Auburn Undercover podcast with Jason Caldwell, I mean, they were supposed to start building a $4 million baseball facility in May, and they didn't, and it's on hold right now, even though they've raised about $4 million, which was supposed to be the total price, but apparently construction costs have gone up. But how much had construction? I mean, really? Construction costs go up that much, so you put it on hold? There's something's wrong. Something's going on. Something's weird happening. And I love to get answers. But guess what? I send text messages. Sometimes I get calls back. Sometimes I don't. So, what can I do? I be a better reporter, I guess. Develop better relationships. But other than that. And Butch and Bruce just got raises. That's true. Butch got his raise last year, though. He got his new contract last year. And Bruce got his this year. And to be quite honest, those type of raises, they're like drops in the bucket. My opinion is, if you're trying to cut the budget by 10% in each program, you're talking about pennies on the dollar, really, for the entire athletics department. And it makes me, if I was an Auburn fan, I'd be worried when I hear that stuff. Because you don't hear that about that going on anywhere else in the SEC. I mean, particularly in the SEC, especially the SEC, you don't even hear about that happening, in the Big East or the All-American Conference, whatever the hell that thing's called. That's a little concerning to me and makes me believe that there's like a deeply rooted thing. But I might be wrong. I just need someone to answer my questions. People need to answer my texts and my phone calls, but it's not happening. I mean, I know people are busy, but Philip Marshall reported that yesterday, the 10% thing. I would just like to get an answer. And things are just in, I wouldn't say disarray right now at Auburn, but just like I don't know if certain people want to talk or go on the record face to face and have to answer follow-up questions and everything when, Stephen Leith was just booted as the president. It's just a very weird time at Auburn right now, which is not good considering that everything was supposed to have been restructured really from an academic standpoint and an athletics department standpoint 2 years ago when Jay Jacobs left and Jay Gouge left. Now here we are, and everything's It's just weird, man. I'm of the belief, Double Ob, that Gus Malzahn, no matter what, would have left for Arkansas. They could have stalemated him, or not stalemated. But yeah, I mean, they could have just said, if you want that money, go to Arkansas, because we ain't giving it to you, buddy. You want to win a championship, stay here. If you want to just go get some money, go to Arkansas, because you're not going to win a championship there. Good luck to you. Maybe he would have left. I don't know, but go spend the money on someone else if that's what he truly cares about is the money and not necessarily winning a championship. You got to call these coaches out sometimes. You know what I mean? As a university, you can't just be like bending to their will and their agent's will every moment of every freaking day and every contract renegotiation. It doesn't work like that in the real world. It doesn't work like that for me. It certainly doesn't work like that for you, I'm sure, or anybody that's a contract employee. I mean, unless you're just like so indispensable to someone. But coaches are not indispensable. They're not. And I say that because of this. Why would assistant coaches be hired and fired so quickly? All right. So no call from Skype from any of you that want to chat. So much for that. If you got my number, call it. Kevin Peace hungry. Cool. If you're Twitch Prime or at Amazon Prime, I always say it. You have Amazon Prime connected to your Twitch account and subscribe to the channel for free. You get some perks. Or just follow me so you know when I go live. Where did the money for the president's mansion renovations come from? I don't know. I really don't know. That's on the university side. I didn't like the athletic department's raising money for that. And that was something that was being discussed under Jay Gouge, the previous president, who's now about to be the interim president when they vote on it in July 8th, I think. Yeah, double up. I mean, listen, after that SEC championship game, I purposely followed Gus Malzahn off the field with my camera, filming him as I walked off the field, just in case it was his final Auburn game. Because if he wanted to leave, he could have left, I guess. But he wanted the money. He wanted money. That's what it was. I mean, he wants to win a championship. He could only do that at Auburn. Couldn't do that at Arkansas. But his agent managed to convince Stephen Leath and the folks involved to give him more money. He got the best of both worlds. He got to stay somewhere where he can win a championship and gets paid a lot of money. Suave asks, how can we cut budget in everyone else's building and expect to keep up? Great question, Suave. You can't. And I mean, if you cut a budget by 10%, is that something that's going to fix things in a year? I don't see how it fixes things in a year. That's like several year process, right? I'm not a business, person, but I understand finances from a certain standpoint. I just think there's this big reluctance by Auburn to go into debt service, which is, getting bonds to build projects, which is kind of crazy to me. I also don't think there's as many big money people willing to give money and empty their pockets. We were talking about this with Jason Caldwell yesterday. Arkansas's building all this stuff. They just renovated their stadium. They built a new football complex a few years ago. They're about to build a $27 million addition to their baseball practice facility and track and field. $27 million. But Arkansas's got deep pockets because Walmart's there, Tyson Foods is there, Lindsay Real Estate's there, which doesn't sound like, you're like, what's Lindsay Real Estate? Well, that guy owns, he has a big apartment complexes in almost every SEC city. I mean, he's rich and he's a former Arkansas player. He's based in Fayetteville, Arkansas. They've got a lot of money in Northwest Arkansas. When I think of Auburn, I think of Jimmy Rain and Yellowwood, but like who else is out there to give them a lot of money? Tim Cook could give money, and I think he will give money, particularly with this football complex, but it's not like he owns Apple. You know what I mean? He might be worth a lot of money, but I just don't know. I don't know if he's the type of guy that's, going to be able to give like $50 million or $40 million or something like that. You guys see, you're just mentioning we need Tim Cook to step up. There's a difference between owning something and being the CEO of a company that's been around well before you. Is Green keeping quiet on everything? I know he spoke to a rival website today in response to Philip Marshall's piece yesterday about Auburn cutting back 10% on the budget for all sports. But it was pretty much like canned quotes. I reached out to Alan too, and I haven't heard anything back. So there's a little behind the scenes for you. I haven't heard anything back. To be honest with you, I was supposed to have a one-on-one with Alan Green back in May. That didn't happen for reasons that were very totally understandable. It was right around when the Rod Bramblett situation happened, and Rod passed away and his wife passed away tragically. So I understood he didn't want to talk at that point. 1 second. Sorry, the camera turns off quickly after 30 minutes. So I understand why he would not want to talk at that point. So we tried to reschedule. June didn't work. And then Stephen Leith got booted, and now it's like everything's quiet. But I was hoping to sit down with them for a one-on-one. Yeah, double up. Jimmy Sexton is Gus Malzahn's agent. Yep. Pretty much if you're a big-time coach, Jimmy Sexton's going to be your guy. E. Williams says, got to make money to spend money. Got to spend money to make money. Sure. I just don't think the financial base for Auburn is as large as some people think, as far as like private donations and everything. I just don't get that feeling. You never hear about a $10 million donation or $2 million donation or anything like that. The last public donation we heard about was Gus Malzahn offering $2 million toward the football facility. And that was a pledge. He hasn't given the money yet. So, if this football only complex doesn't get off the ground before the end of the season, and let's say Gus Malzahn gets fired, do you think Gus Malzahn is going to give $2 million toward the football complex? Tyler says this is the least amount of faith I've had in an Auburn football team in a long time. Well, Tyler, then they'll probably win 10 or 11 games this year. That's usually how it works. When everybody thinks Auburn football is not going to do so great, they end up winning. Where does Auburn athletics rank in resources in the SEC? I don't know. How do you quantify that? Where are we talking about it specifically? Revenue and everything? You can go to the USA Today database and look that up. Are you talking about operating expenses? Go look at that, the USA database. My question is how much money does Auburn have in reserve? And they hide that all behind the Tigers Unlimited Foundation, which is not open to open records requests. So you never really get a good number. And that's my biggest question is how much money do they really have in reserves? Because I get the feeling, I don't know. Because I was told yesterday by someone, hey, go read a story where Jay Jacobs is quoted in January of like 2017 or something. I can't remember when. About how they're in good shape and all this stuff. They've been good stewards of their money and they've prepared for everything. It was interesting. Do you know when they'll release the SEC versus Big 12 challenge for basketball? I don't know when they're releasing that. I know it's kind of put the scheduling of Auburn against Louisville for this upcoming season a little bit on hold. Though I'm told that's going to happen in December, but they're waiting on what's going to happen with this SEC Big 12 challenge, what the schedule is going to look like. Bruce Pearl spoke today on the SEC teleconference. I didn't cover it because Mark Murphy, I guess, is our basketball beat writer, and he covered it. Mark Murphy wrote a short story from it. There's really there's no real big update there. You'll be curious if he goes with Gatewood or Nix. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I think in the end he'll go with Gatewood in the first game, but I don't. Anything's possible. I mean, it's two freshmen, so you don't know what to expect. Now, when someone was talking about like ranking Auburn and all that, when it comes to facilities for baseball, Auburn's last in the SEC West for baseball. They just are. Do I think there's still problems that exist with the good old boy Auburn guard and the controlling athletic? And the good old boy guard is still there. They're around. Do they have as much influence? I don't know. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And that's kind of the problem. There's just I keep hitting my microphone. There's just too many voices in the forest, you know? 2020 Auburn will be screwed in the offensive line. It's possible. It's why they're having to get so many kids right now, including some junior college transfers to prepare for 2020 because they're losing everybody up front after this upcoming season. This team seems to have all the pieces. I don't know about that. I'm concerned about receiver for Auburn. I'm very concerned with that. Do I think Asa Martin will transfer to another SEC school? I don't know. Who cares? Does anybody really care where he goes? He left Auburn to go to Miami, and then he left Miami before the football season. I don't. Who cares? I don't know. I don't know. I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When a kid leaves Auburn, like I'd stop like keeping track of them really because I don't have enough time in my day in my life to really keep track of that. I've looked up and tried to keep track of Malik Willis because he's a quarterback and some other stuff, but even that, it's like who cares? He's gonna either go to Troy or Liberty most likely. Who cares? He's gone. When the season starts, none of you will be asking about Asa Martin or Malik Willis. Where do I think Auburn's facilities should rank in the SEC? Top 4. I think that should be the expectation. I listen. What Auburn's done over this last decade is incredible, but it's just like they've been doing it almost in spite of themselves in a lot of ways because of the athletic facilities. You know what I mean? Because listen, you got big when it comes to football. Like football facilities should be great at Alabama. They should be great at LSU. They should be great at Tennessee. They should be great at Florida. They should be great at Georgia. And they should be great at Auburn. So that's 6 teams just off the top of my head where I'm going to say football facilities should be great. And so when I say Auburn should be in the top 4, that means you got to beat out 2 of those schools, so to speak. And as it stands right now at football facilities, Auburn is not in that top 6, in my opinion, in the SEC. Do you? With what Georgia's done, Alabama, obviously. I think Alabama leads the way. Tennessee has done some really good things. That doesn't really get a lot of attention, but they're spending money there. Florida is finally starting to spend some money on some things because they were a lot like Auburn a few years ago before Scott Strickland got there. Their football facilities, for whatever reason, they didn't want to spend money on stuff, but they're starting to spend money now. And so I think Auburn should be a top 4 program in the SEC. And if you're a top 4 program in the SEC, or for that matter, a top 6 program in the SEC, you're going to have a fighting chance at competing for a national championship. Auburn has managed to do that despite maybe not being in the top 6 at all times. I think they were probably in the top 6 like 5-6 years ago. But then Georgia started making moves, Tennessee started making moves, and Florida started making moves. Now Auburn's outside that top 6, in my opinion, when it comes to facilities. How does it affect recruiting? We'll see. But Auburn's had top 10 recruiting classes every year under Gus Malzahn up until 2019. And this looks like right now, going into 2020, he's not going to have a top 10 class again. So he's losing his foothold a little bit with recruiting because Georgia's doing so well, and that's where Auburn goes in and gets their talent. And I think facilities has a lot to do with it. How do I know facilities has a lot to do with it? Auburn used to bring their players over to the athletics complex, the recruits and everything. Now they try to keep them over at the football stadium and the new game day facility as much as possible because it's newer and it's fresher. Facilities matter, guys. So Auburn better spend the money. Or you're going to go from this decade where it's the most successful decade Auburn's had in across all sports spectrums since the 1980s. You're going to go from that to, I think, potentially one of the most mediocre or worst, one or the other, and in the 2020s, if you don't get your act together and start building stuff. That's my opinion, but I'm just a caveman. You hope Cam Martin gets a solid amount of playing time this season. He's done Auburn very well. I mean, he'll play. I just don't know how many snaps, man. I think Boobie Whitlow is going to be the starter there at running back. I think they got to figure out a way to get DJ Williams involved. He's very good and all that. So, oh, and Texas A&M. See, I didn't even mention Texas A&M. They're ahead of Auburn in facilities. I mean, goodness gracious, all the money they spent on their stadium. Auburn has fallen behind. They're not falling behind. They have fallen behind. Wow, Clay, that's a heck of a story. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's something. Goodness gracious. Like I said, I don't know. I don't have an exact day for when fall practice starts. Gus Malzahn likes to keep that secret for whatever reason. I guess he doesn't want to tell his players. I don't know. My guess would be like August 1st. It's always like August 1st or so. It's possible you could see some practices, not at Auburn, maybe at Auburn, who knows, but across the country beginning in late July because of the earlier start of the season and the 2 bye weeks, right? So I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. I don't have an exact date for you. Appreciate you guys, whoever, earlier I saw dropping bits. Feel free to subscribe. I like it much more if you subscribe to auburn.247sports.com. That'd be great. But Scurvy Balls Lamont, who wanted to call in earlier because I was a hillbilly, followed at 12:25 p.m. and he never called Skype. So that's too bad. And Double Ob sent 10 bits. I really appreciate that. Am I the only one who thinks Auburn social media is doing a little too much with this, quote, the ride, says Tyler 2KW. I have no idea what you're talking about. Was that the, I've only seen a part of one of them. Was that the one where, or is it, I guess it's part of a series, but is a part of that series the one where they show Gus Malzahn working out? Because Gus did not like being filmed working out. Personally, I there's a big weird hypocritical thing about the hashtag ride for the brand thing that they're doing. The players like it, but what it pretty much is saying is like, do free labor, promote Auburn for nothing. And in this age of whether people should be paid for likeness and everything, it's a little ill-conceived in my opinion. But also, if I was the head of the marketing department, it'd be the most boring marketing department in the SEC, and I'd be fired. So, because I have a social conscience. The like Netflix type, yeah, they that's what it is. Yeah, they show like a Netflix type logo for Auburn. I hate it when people do that, when they do a logo that looks like something that's popular. Like someone mentioned on here a few days ago or a couple days ago how Auburn, I guess, does a thing where they call it Stranger Games or Stranger, yeah, something like that. During football games, that's like in the theme of Stranger Things. I mean, I don't know. I mean, are you going to be able to look back and watch the ride, 10 years from now and not go, God, that's dated? Remember Netflix? It's like doing something that's. Can you imagine Auburn releasing a video series that was like copying the logo for MySpace or Friendster? Anything happened with Danjel Purefoy's mom? What are you talking about? You talking about that AL.com story about how she was selling some T-shirts? Not that I know of. I don't know. I didn't look into that. It seemed like small potatoes. But listen, I'm not in the marketing department. I'm not in the video department at Auburn. I'd be fired quickly because I'm not good at that stuff. And I mean, I could come up with stuff. It's just things get cheesy. Like even my driving planes thing, I like kind of, I just kind of grimaced her like, Brandon, come on. But at least I'm not putting players who are not getting paid in a situation where you're making them promote your product. Everyone likes rehashing or retreading nowadays. Yes. Everybody loves nostalgia too. Which is why am I forgetting his name? Kyler Murray. That's why they did the Kyler Knows thing with him, copying the Bo Jackson campaign, Nike campaign from the late 80s. Yeah, that's a conversation for another day. But there's way too many options out there for streaming services, and it's almost like everybody's going to just go back to cable because that's actually going to be the cheaper option. I mean, Netflix, NBC starting their own thing. Disney Plus is starting up. You got Hulu. Um, WB, Warner Brothers, about to start their own streaming service. Apple is starting their own streaming service with original programming. That's just too much stuff, guys. That's too much money. But I've got Netflix. I don't have the other stuff. I have Amazon Prime, but I barely watch anything on that. I don't think I've ever watched an original show on that. Netflix, I do. I mean, Netflix has had some good stuff on there. I watched the Marvel series there for a little bit, but really have cooled off on that the last 2 years, and now they're leaving because those shows really turned to crap. Let me think what else. I watched the show Glow on there, Stranger Things, which is coming out July 4th, season 3. Um, some of their comedy specials. Um, what was the other original show I just recently watched? You know, when they had Wet Hot American Summer come back. I watched those. What else? I know I'm forgetting other things. I watched that Cloverfield Paradox movie, which wasn't very good when it came out, but everybody made a big deal about it. Uh, you know, but I don't watch Hulu. Like, what's Hulu got? Nothing there. Make Ozark. Yeah, I haven't watched season 2 of Ozark yet. Ever since we've had a kid, like it's hard to get into a series and watch it. Yeah, I hear good things about Jack Ryan, but I was never into the Jack Ryan character in those movies. You know, Clear and Present Danger and Hunt for Red October and all that stuff, or whatever that is. I just don't. Narcos, I hear good things about. Didn't watch that. Um, yeah, but I don't think I'm gonna watch The Ride on if it ever makes Netflix. You know what I mean? Lady Dynamite, I watched. That was good. I enjoyed that. Auburn finished eighth in the something poll in baseball, which means they're the worst ranked team that made the College World Series. The Last Ship is good. What the hell's that? Who cares about? I don't care about Fear the Walking Dead. What was the Hard Knocks type show they did at Florida State and Notre Dame? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Was that Amazon Prime? I never watched it, so I don't know. But was it really a Hard Knocks type show? Because Hard Knocks, is there's cussing and stuff, and they show everything. I don't think they do that for a college program. I'd be interested in watching something like that. If they actually had, thanks Creates Gamer for following. I would be interested to see like an actual like Hard Knocks show for a college program. Anything that's produced in house, like The Ride or whatever by Auburn, they're not going to show you everything. They're going to show you the good things. But I'm also not interested in Florida State or Notre Dame. You know, I'm just not. And stuff that can be very well produced, but content's everything, man. Like I don't need a public relations television show. I don't need that crap. I don't need PR friendly bullcrap. Who's on Hard Knocks this year? Is it the Raiders? Did I hear that right? Was it the Raiders? All right, guys, I gotta go. I got somewhere to be and other things to do today. But I figured I'd just stop in, just chat BS with you guys for a little bit. Gave me an opportunity to call me on Skype and join the conversation, but no one did it. That's disappointing. Um, so yeah, I will see you guys later. We'll record another podcast maybe Sunday or Monday. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week, a good weekend, and all that good jazz. I got to figure out a couple of things to write. This part of the year sucks. It's the worst part of the year, particularly when you're just doing football. There's just not much to talk about. And all the coaches are on vacation. They're all out. They're like gone for 3 weeks. They'll be doing some recruiting over the phone, but these guys are like checked out. They're fishing, there's water skiing, they're doing all that stuff for like 2-3 weeks. Which is almost crazy to me to think about, like how much time these guys get off. I know they work a lot, but man, they get a lot of time. Gear up for media days. Media days is so boring. I was talking to Jason yesterday about he's like, man, I might go there all week and do stories from other teams. And it's like, man, it ain't worth it. I go there for Auburn and that's it. Is Malzahn watching the goats across the lake? I don't know what he's doing. No idea. Vacationing, I guess. I saw where they posted a picture of him bowling with some of the team members last night. So I guess he was in town. These coaches, though, especially Gus Malzahn, these head coaches, they move around so quickly. I mean, they'll be in Auburn one night, then the next morning they're in, Seattle. So anyway, that's it, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing to Auburn Undercover, auburn.247sports.com. Follow me here on Twitch so you get updates anytime I go live. I'd really appreciate it. If not, whatever. Love you guys. I'll see you down the road.